Hello, railfans, and welcome to French Fried Trains. We took a little weekend trip here to Indianapolis, Indiana, and we're actually staying in the Crown Plaza Hotel, which is inside of the old historic Union Station. And it had some really cool old architecture, as you can see here. All these steel beams used to hold up the trains. And actually on the second floor of this hotel, there's a bunch of old passenger cars which have been converted to rooms that you can stay in. If you want to see more on those, stay tuned to the end of the video. And it was a pretty cool place to stay. However, to see the actual freight trains that were running, it was not connected to the hotel and you had to walk around the city block to get to them. So here we are on the first morning, and as you can see underneath the train here, the street goes under, and unfortunately for this one, I was still walking under that tunnel when the locomotives went by. But I got over here to where I could see it and press record anyway, just in case anything cool was on this train. And as you can see, the train actually goes through the second floor of the building here, so it was pretty cool. And here's a pretty cool yellow Union Pacific boxcar, but that was pretty much it for cool things on the tail end of this train. The next day we were there, after we did all our activities for the day, I was actually able to get some railfanning in. While I was on my way to go find a railfanning spot, a train was coming and I didn't have time to get into a better camera angle. So this one's a little cut off due to where I'm standing, but it had a really cool lash up. A bunch of Union Pacific units, and even a KCS locomotive thrown in the mix. After the locomotives passed, I stopped recording and ran around the corner to get a better view here because that first camera angle was not good. A bunch of intermodals on this train here. And here's a better view of the train coming out of the building up there. And finally, about 7 minutes later, the tail end of this slow-moving train goes by here. We would have to wait another hour and a half before another train came, but in the meantime, we were in this parking lot across the street from the Indianapolis Colts Lucas Oil Stadium. So it was a nice little spot to sit and wait for trains here. This parking lot was pretty empty that day. In the meantime, while I was waiting, this helicopter flew directly overhead. And finally, an hour and a half later, we had another train coming. A 3-unit CSX lash-up with an ET44AH, an ES40DC, and an SD40-3. And the front door on that SD40-3 was open. And now we're actually in a good spot with some bright sunlight on the train here. here's a TTX railgun. There was a very large cut of gondolas on this train. This was a big train, and its slow speed meant it took almost 10 minutes to pass by. And here's a pretty old coil shield car. And some more tank cars here. And a beat up CSX boxcar. And here we see a nice and shiny Union Pacific auto wreck. And like I said, this massive train just keeps coming. And here we see a nice clean CSX boxcar. And finally, almost 10 minutes later, the tail end of this train goes by. That was all the actual trains we got railfanning, and now it's time for the part you've all been waiting for here. So these are the trains that are actually on the second floor of the hotel. A bunch of old passenger cars here, which have been modified with hotel rooms inside of them, and you can actually stay in these passenger cars if you want. Now unfortunately the lighting on this side wasn't that great for my camera, but you can see on this side of the hotel they have two trains up here, and then across the way on the opposite side of the hotel there's one train on the other side. They have this little sitting room here with some old luggage wagons right here. And then this one on this side is red, and you can see this one a little better. This hallway was closed off for some reason. I don't know what they were working on down here. And here's some detail on the trucks, which you can see a lot better on this side in the light. And these trains pretty much ran the entire length of the hotel on each side. We didn't actually stay inside of the train cars, we stayed in a regular hotel room, but it's still really cool that these were here. And now we're back on the other side again. This car is the P.T. Barnum car. And all the cars were pretty similar but with slight differences. But I just recorded over here again so you could get a sense of just how many cars are up here and how long it was. I didn't walk the entire length because the elevators were in the center here. But here's the end where you can get up and go into the rooms if you were actually staying there. And you can see it's connected to the red train on the opposite side. So that's it for all the train related stuff we saw while we were in Indianapolis. I was hoping to get a lot more trains railfanning, but I just didn't have time with all the other activities we had planned while we were there. So I hope everyone enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and everyone have a great week. Stay safe out there.